darkness, not knowing where to turn. The shadows all around me, I need to see the sun. A stranger in the distance, not knowing where to turn. A voice that sounds familiar, but still I want to run. For all that I have done wrong, and there's someone left to choose. In life's sweet ambitions, there's always love to lose. We captured every single thought running in our heads, and instead of taking pictures, we wrote them down instead. And all these poison memories seem to blow away in paper or in memory. There's nothing left to say.
This is Nigel Connell's new album. It's his debut album. It's called Nothing Left to Say. We've just heard the debut track from that album. How are you, Nigel? How are you?
How are you, Dara?
Local boy from Athboy.
Local boy from Athboy, yeah, Athboy.
And what's really interesting is, from reading all of the documentation that I've read about you and stuff, what has taken you so long to come up with your old album?
I probably work commitments to other artists, and you know, my life has taken a lot of different turns along the way. Between everything, you know, everybody's life turns along the way, different things. But I was playing music, and I was married at the time, and I had to try and, you know, make a living at the music, and I was working on my own songs, and then with the music, my marriage dissolved into something different, and I was a single man again, and I decided then to really try and push from me and get out there in the world and express my music. So I kind of put a lot of things in the back burner which I was probably able to do at the time, and said no to a lot more things, and then got working on the album. Like, it really took the guts of 4 years to get this album, and Marc had produced it, but he had tremendous patience, because we just kind of went over to his studio whenever I'd call him in the middle of the night and I'd say I have an idea, and he'd say, well, come over and we do it. Or a lot of times, I'm a drummer, and I don't really play an instrument. I tinkle on the piano and I tinkle on the guitar a little bit as well. So I did a lot of recordings on my phone, and I'd bring it to Marc then, or email it to him, and we'd take it from there. So but a lot of the words are very, very personal in the last 10 years of my life. So. And
it's quite a mixture of, as you say, things that are personal to you, and then some songs that people would know, like Carrickfergus, The Ocean, and Bring Him Home, which I think is one of the most beautiful versions of the song that I've ever heard.
Thanks very much.
So, well done on that. But tell me, you come from a musical family.
Yeah, I do. I come from, I'm the youngest of 5, and
right.
My parents had a family band, and we used to tour all around Ireland. Well, not really Ireland, probably Wicklow would be the furthest we would have went.
Right.
But it was just a wedding band, and I started in that band when I was 13, and I used to just drum for my brother, who was a very good singer and still is, Bobby, and my mum and dad still play. So
right.
I got good experience from them, and I'd be going to school on a Monday morning, and I'd be hearing all these tunes. So country music was the music that they played at the time, so it was very comfortable for me to relax with country music, good American country music. And my dad was big believer in listening to the American country music, like Charlie Pride and that, and that's why I kind of, you know, touched on a little bit of country. And then Keela May is track 8 there, and that's it's very country style, you know. The song is very, I don't want to put it in a genre, but it's kind of in Skaggs style a little bit as well. And then Love Me is another classic country song. But these are songs that I've always been singing, but I wanted to do slightly different versions of them.
Right.
Because the album is very classically based. But then moving on from my mum and dad's band, like, I moved into different bands, and I was in the rock scene as well for a time. So there's a little element of everything in my voice there. Like track 7 there, Belief, is a little bit more huskier than say Bring Him Home or whatever. And I wanted to do Bring Him Home then just for the musical aspect of things, because I worked with Rebecca Storm and people like that, and sang in the National Concert Hall and Carnegie Hall and places like that, and that's where your voice really, you can hear a pin drop. And I just wanted to do a stripped down version of Bring Him Home, not with all the strings, and I think it's perfectly, at the end it's perfectly closes the album off, you know, because it gets big and then it just works its way down to the way it's meant to be, just the piano and the songwriter or whatever. But
Was your ambition to be just play music in Ireland, or was it to go abroad and be hugely successful? Or?
No, I think when I was growing up, like I left school at 15 years of age to work in my parents. We had a family business, and I was only about 2 weeks working at home when I got my first professional drumming job.
Right.
And I never wanted to go on to be a doctor or anything like that. It was always music.
Right.
I was always rehearsing music. I was always practicing. Every time I could get in behind a kit of drums, I would be in there. And my mum's garage, the roof almost collapsed down on top of me one time from doing drum solos. Right. But like I've always had an ambition, and I loved. I've been to Slane in 1986. I went to see Queen when I was 14. Like, and I always dreamt of someday I want to be there. And like just last year, I got to perform in the O2 Arena, and that was a dream come true for me. I always wanted to play in the Old Point,
right? Which
I didn't. Unfortunately, I didn't get to play in. But to play in the new O2 Arena was something very important for me, and that I'm happy now. I always said I could die a happy man if I got to play in the Point Depot, But I have to say, my life is just. I didn't plan anything. And I never do plan anything.
Right.
And the music just always seems to look after me, and I'm very, very lucky that way.
It's interesting you say that about the O2, because I read today that you are going to be the first Meath man to perform in the Grand Ole Opry House.
Yeah, and this is I've never been to Nashville. I love American country music, and just this year I took on the reins as the new drummer with Daniel O'Donnell, and I know it seems a bit strange for people say to me, why did you take that on board? But for me, it was a personal thing. At the time, I've been drumming with country bands, and to me, this was the highest I could get at that level. And to get to play some of these venues that he's playing is just incredible for me. And like the Grand Ole Opry on the 24th of June is Daniel's new DVD. It's the first DVD where it's going to be completely live, and I'm drumming, and it's just. I'm just so happy, I'm just, it's brilliant. I can hardly believe it. I've never been to Nashville, not alone Grand Ole Opry, but to get to go to Nashville and to be paid to play in the Grand Ole Opry, it's just, I do it for free.
Well,
just Daniel didn't hear that.
No.